So episode 10 starts with it picks up from episode 9 where Chris was telling Jessica that he wasn't attracted to her, and he's used to someone who works out and does Pilates. Uh, she's obviously hurt by this. She did tell him, I didn't hide. I told you in the pods that I didn't work out. That's not the reason though. He saw Bree and wants to be with Bree because that is not the reason. He's just it's a cop out. And then and I'm trying to think of, sir, what do you think you look like? Because he was talking about how he wants to be able to have sex with somebody up. He said he knows in when everybody, like when you're 90, you don't look good, but eventually. But he's not 90 right now. I'm trying to figure out what he thinks he looks like, to be honest. Because what? So she was obviously hurt. And then he tried to say he wanted to work on it. And I'm like, work on what? You just told her you're not attracted to her. So she got up and she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she left. And good for her. These two, Bree's still getting on him about or making comments about the way he lives like a bachelor, or that he doesn't. I don't know. They're not. This shouldn't. I don't know how you would think someone would want to listen to that all their lives, but okay. Amber meets the family. They like her. They're having dinner, and then afterwards, she talks to him about how she feels. She doesn't feel like he's attracted to her. He doesn't tell her she's pretty, or he doesn't give her compliments or anything. My thing is, if you have to tell somebody that, and that's an issue for you, then you know this is not where you need to be. He says that he doesn't like the fact that she asks for compliments, and that he doesn't feel like he wants to give her one once she says that, because it's like she's forcing him to give her a compliment. He already said he's never this she's the first woman, this man of color says she's the first woman of color he's ever dated. So enough said. He did after the she told him, and he did give her compliments, and it was like a lot of compliments. It was a little weird, but again, don't think these two are going to say yes at the altar if they even make it there. Chris's sneaky ass had the nerve to ask for advice from the man whose woman you want. And I feel like, I don't know if he caught on to that, but he was giving Chris good advice. I don't know why, but because Chris is not. Anyway, Ashley meets Alex's mom. There was a lot of talk about what she does for a living. I guess she's a truck driver, that she travels and he likes to travel. And yeah, but speaking of Ashley, her dad from the last episode was so annoying, and like when he was grilling Alex, which I get it because Alex does seem fake, but her dad was just all of it. I don't know if he had too much to drink or what, but I just And actually, her dad seems a lot like Alex, so that makes sense. She's with him, I guess. Ashley does ask. Alex gets up and leaves for a minute, and Ashley asks his mom. They were having girl talk, and asked about his other girlfriends and what they. I don't know the timeline. I don't. It was weird. Her talking about his ex-girlfriends with his mom. That just seemed weird to me. But I guess she's a lot like her dad with questions. But anyway, so Emma's family comes to meet Mike, and they're all sitting outside. It looks like it's cold, but whatever, I guess. But they bring up the kids thing, and they bring up her wanting to have kids. And I feel like that was mentioned in the pods. They should have. I think kids, that's a really big deal, and I think they shouldn't have even gone even further after she said she didn't want kids and he did want kids. Like, this is not. I don't think this is going to work. But they're talking about having kids, and her family knows that she was adamant about not having kids, and they're worried about her kind of compromising when she doesn't really want to have kids. Her sister, this was crazy. Her sister said, I have two kids and I know it's hard, and I just don't want someone who didn't even want kids to have kids, and then feel some kind of resentment or whatever. And but the sister, I think this was more about the sister and how she felt because she was like, I loved kids. I've all my life I wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. And then Mike said, "Do you regret it?" And she said, "I don't regret it, but if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have kids." And I was like, "Dang, that's a strong statement." And for somebody who wanted to have kids, because it is hard raising kids, it is very hard. But I would never say if I had the chance to do it all over again, I wouldn't have kids. Like that's a strong statement, and I really feel like the sister here needs to evaluate a few things in her life because I, I don't know. But anyway, all in all, Emma's family said they support whatever decision she makes, and that was it. They went into some things about like Emma growing up, and she keeps talking about how she had a great childhood, and I don't know their family. I mean, I guess, but something was a little off to me about their family. It was almost like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, Bree meets Connor's family, and I just wondered what they thought of her. She talks a lot. That would drive me crazy, but they seem to like her though. So here we go with the ex-girlfriend talk again too. And she was saying she's not sure about his timelines, and it almost seems like she knows something and she's trying to she said to him too, I'm not trying to catch you in a lie or anything. I'm just trying to understand. But I feel like she knows something because it keeps coming up about the timeline, and he did seem like he was got caught in a lie about seeing some girl, which I mean, I'm not surprised. So now it's time for the meet and greet, which is usually my favorite part, where the other couples get to, or the other people show up and they get to meet everyone. And I think it's, yeah, people in the pods that they hadn't seen. Kevin shows up. And then I can't remember her name, but she was the other girl that was dating Kevin. And there were two girls. And the other one, I saw her on a podcast or something, and she was saying the scene where when she was talking to Kevin and he was trying to figure out what he wanted, and it was right around the time she was just like, this is crazy, I'm gonna bow out of this. And she had looked in the camera at one point, and she said, this is crazy. And the other girl did, but I don't think she's there. And in the podcast, she said that he told her, she said, what would you do if I were you? And he said, run. And that's why she looked in the camera like, what is going on? This is crazy. That is crazy. But Kevin did seem a little to me. But I wonder if the other girl will show up. Bree is telling the girls that Chris left her a message. And it was a weird message. Like it just said, oh, yeah, he's so weird. And then she said that she either he DM'd her and she said, what's going on? He said, call me. But apparently he had posted some Instagram pictures of him at a strip club. And the other thing about Chris is, right when this started, the show started, there was a girl on TikTok, and she said that he was her ex-boyfriend, and she didn't have anything good to say about him. She said a lot of crazy stuff about him, but I just thought, here we go again. But I think there was something to that because he is a little, I don't know what's going on with him. This was funny because she kept making comments when they were talking about Chris, and she was like, he's a punk ass bitch. That's why I said we don't need to, or maybe she said pussy ass bitch. I don't remember what she said, but it was funny. She was going in. Guess who shows up looking goofy? And you know what? I think I think he pre-gamed and had some drinks or something before he came because he seemed a little lit. And then right after he showed up, Jessica showed up. All the girls are hugging Jessica, and he's like talking to Jordan. He was like, they hate me, dude. But I don't, what did he kept saying, I don't give a flying fuck. He kept saying that, which means he does. This was weird because her name is Priyanka, I think, and she came in and everybody was hugging her. And I'm thinking we didn't even see her. I mean, not really in the pods, but they were focused a little in on her. I thought that was odd. But then Alex was being all weird, and I guess coming to find out they know each other. They're in the same friend group. I thought that was odd, and she definitely looks like his type from what he described. So he was acting really weird about that. So I don't know if something had gone on with them or if he wanted something to go on with them, But he's just said he didn't want to tell anybody that he knew her because he didn't want it to taint her experience. But this seems out of the blue.